If you live in Pattaya, or if you manage to scrape yourself away from the bars in Pattaya and actually have a venture around, you'll know that we have a weekend market on Sukhumvit Road up by Mini Siam and the big McDonald's. It's there every Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and it's got a beautiful display up there of the flowers and the trees. So as we're coming very close to making that landscaping now, we thought we'd drive up and have a look. And I brought my mum with me because she's a bit of a gardener. If you do fancy a trip up to the weekend market, get yourself onto Sukhumvit Road, driving towards Bangkok, through the tunnel that we're just approaching now. Took them the best part of 3 years to build this tunnel, you know. Anyway, we won't go into that one. Through the tunnel. You can see the Bangkok Pattaya Hospital, that's on the left hand side, and look out on the right hand side for Mini Siam and the big McDonald's. You're just coming up to the Golden M's now, and then take the U-turn coming up after the McDonald's. Back from the garden centre, and what a beautiful place it is. The flowers up there are absolutely superb. Now each one of those little market shops are actually representing either a nursery or a farm behind the scenes. So when you go to that market, you'll get a small display from each one of the companies, but you can go to the nurseries behind that. So over the weekend, Friday, Saturdays and Sundays, you'll find everybody at the market, but any time during the week you can go to the companies and the nurseries afterwards. Just ask the guys up there for their business cards and they'll give you their contact details and their locations of the nursery. So go and have a look. Now, I actually come from a little bit of a gardening family. Both my mum and my grandmother absolutely love their gardens. But if you're like me, I tend to buy those flowers up there, bring them home, and within a fortnight they go and die on me. So when it's come to the garden here, we have actually got a designer involved. The garden designer will come here, and although we choose the flowers that we like, they will make the design of where the positioning of the flowers and the trees, and I'm sure they can do a job much better than I can. So we're back to our retaining wall here, which is really where I get involved of doing the building, and then the gardeners will follow with the grass, the trees and the flowers. So we're back onto the site here with our retaining wall, and this is obviously holding back all of the earth for the garden. So if you can imagine, there is a lot of pressure against this wall of the earth wanting to push the wall over, and extra that pressure increases when it's been raining. All the extra water increases the weight of the earth, also wanting to push over this retaining wall. So we had two choices of how to build the retaining wall. We could have done it completely with shuttering, the plywood or the steel shuttering that I use, put the reinforcing steel inside and then pour it with concrete. Or in this particular case, we've gone for the quicker way, which is to build a double block wall and then put the reinforcing steel in the centre and then actually fill the centre with concrete. So both ways are correct. You can choose one or the other, but this is a slightly quicker option because the blocks will stay there and we will just plaster over the blocks at a later date. Garden designer has been in today, and what we've done in our meeting today is separate what job is going to be mine, which is going to be part of the construction job, and what job is going to be his. And it's all going to start with my nice little 5-year-old crayon drawing. There you go, that's how it starts. I've literally labelled what garden area we've got for Tudor Court, how that's going to join together with the cube, and you can see that we've started here with the staircase. The staircase is coming in. Now, I don't want a straight line, because if we do a straight line, we're going to end right in a flower bed of Tudor Court. So we're going to start off straight, and then we're going to slope across, so we can join in with Tudor Court very nicely. So we're labelling here what's going to be the structure, which will be my job, and then it goes to the garden designer of what flowers and trees he's going to put all the way around the outside. So we've established who's going to be working on what area. But of course, this is only one of the gardens in the cube here. We've got a main back garden. We've also got the cutout gardens, which are halfway in the building. We've got the front gardens, which are on the street. And then we've got all the gardens around the swimming pool and the very top roof garden that's on top of the gym. So let's go and have a look at those items, and I can give you a rough idea. This is the part that's running down Soi 2. This is the part mostly where people drive down to have a look at the building. So I've had a bright spark idea. where I'm going to combine my parking spaces, because I do want some additional parking spaces, together with my gardens. Now, we've had a delivery of the bushes. The first lot of bushes have come in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my parking separations, instead of lines, white painted lines, I'm going to make my parking separations with the bushes. Then you'll notice that the building has a step. That's a step that's covering the car park. That gives me a beautiful step all the way down the line of soi 2 there that can also have potted flowers. So what we're doing at the moment is we're bringing in all the paint touch-ups on the front of the building. The boxings are going on around the pipework, which was in the last video. And then we'll start to bring all the gardens down there, incorporating all of the car park, separated by bushes. And this is going to be a really interesting one to show you step by step how it progresses. The next up here is what we call the Jenga gardens. These are basically where the apartments have been pushed out, like the game of Jenga, and there are actually 5 apartments missing to create this large internal garden. And I always imagined that there would be trees, flowers, seating areas, tables. But one of my trips to Hong Kong last year, I had a bit of luck. We stayed in a hotel that was very similar to the idea of these gardens. I made some photographs, and I'm taking the idea. I can't steal it at 100% because our design is different, our actual shape of the garden is different. But nevertheless, have a look at these photos and it gives you a good idea of what this is actually going to be eventually ending up. Here's our swimming pool garden. Really hard to imagine everything at the moment, but this is our starting point. Now take a look at the graphic here, which is on our sales package, and you can see where we're going to end up. We have a complete decking right next to the swimming pool. The sun loungers are on the decking. The surround, the absolute outside surround, is of course the handrails with the glass panels. In front of that then is the trees and bushes, which will be nicely placed around the sun loungers. But seeing this at the moment, well, at least you've got our starting point to compare with the finishing point. Right, now that brings us to the additional garden, which is the one that wasn't on any of the plans, but things worked out so well up here to have a garden next to the swimming pool, and of course the view of Koh Lan, that I put in an additional garden, which is on the roof of the gym. That's that one there directly behind me. You can see the drone flying over the top of that roof garden now. So in addition to the swimming pool garden, we will put in a staircase leading you to that top garden, and once again it gives us another area of tables and chairs and sun loungers. But of course in the evenings you're going to get the sunset going straight over the back of Koh Lan. Absolutely beautiful. Here's a quick update on our downpipe boxings. We're covering everything with a steel boxing, and then that's covered over with a cement board, so you can't see the pipe at all. It's completely encased, and then we will paint it with the finishing colour and it becomes part of the building. But of course this for me is recycled. The 2-inch steel that you see here on the boxing was actually previously used for the concrete work. Waste not, want not, you know. I just showed you there the steel boxing that's going around the downpipes. Well, here is a section actually that they make up in the workshop. So there's lots of our 2-inch steel which has been re-welded into sections. We've got to say sections because that's pretty heavy to actually lift up into position. So they only make each part no more than about 2 to 2.5 meters. And then here, of course, is what we call the cement board that makes the final covering. That is then physically screwed onto the frame and then all painted so it becomes part of the building, and it doesn't look like it's odd and standing out from anything.
With the retaining wall now in place and the concrete gone solid and cured, the mini digger is back in, so he can start backfilling all of the garden area and the earth directly right up to that wall, and then that will give us a nice level garden throughout.